The Uganda we want. So mu Uganda gye twagala mu lutalo luno olw'okulwanyisa obulabbayo obukenuzi nze kyempita obuvundu. Munna Uganda alina okuba nga yeenyigiramu.
Ffenna twenyigire mu lutalo.
Ate abalala tebasomye kuzimba wabula bayize okuzimba.
Uganda gye twagala okulaba ng'enguudo zonna nkole nungi, public transport nga weeri.
Kati eno gavumenti eriwo erina akabonero ka Lucifer. Buli kyotunulako mu Uganda kiriko oxygen. Either babika amawulire malungi oba mawulire mabi. Minisita teyeetaagisa kabangali budde buno zaki.
At this time, why should somebody import furniture from outside Uganda? Let us leave NRM to be in charge for another 36 years or more.
I really want to see a Uganda that believes in the rule of law. If you have a constitution in place, follow it to the letter. Don't change laws just because you want them to favor you.
Kuba njagala omanye nti obugagga bwonna Uganda bwe yeeyagaliramu buyita waffe ku ttaka lyaffe. Naye busoga mugidibaze.
How can a referral hospital refer you to a private clinic? The Uganda we want buli muntu ateekwa okumanya nti I am a stakeholder nkwatibwako si kwesuulira wannagamba.
Uganda oyinza okukakana nga mwe mulina bagraduates aba university nga bangi okusinga ebungereza. Mwe mufokasinga nnyo ku degree. Eri bo bafokasinga nnyo nti byensomye mbijeemu omulimu n'enkola.
We're dreaming of a Uganda where at a young age there is such a relationship between parent and son, parent and daughter, where the daughter can say this is what I want.
Uganda gye twagala empya tesobola kubeerawo nga tewali mateeka. Amateeka agakola.
The Uganda we want. Wano ku Dream TV. Welcome to the program, The Uganda We Want. My name is Robert Mulanzi, and this is part 2 with Professor Kanyeihamba'S George Wilson, how he's going to speak to us and will give us his opinions or his views on the Uganda he wants to see. Thank you for listening to us on Impact FM and for watching us on Dream TV. Let's welcome Professor Kanyeihamba'S Wilson.
George Wilson Kanyeihamba, a retired justice of the Supreme Court of Uganda. I live in Buziga, Kampala. Ndi musajja wa Kabaka, because this land you see or you hear about is on Kabaka's personal land. Secondly, whereas other people came into politics and the government through either political party or military affiliations, I was recruited both by the late Yusuf Rule and the President Museveni, who is still in power today, through my activity as a human rights campaigner. And so I differ in many respects from the traditional player. I want to introduce that I am now 82, and friends of mine, including very high up in government, have persuaded me that my work and the belief in integrity, truth, justice, transparency, and accountability should be remembered at all times. That's the kind of Uganda and the governance we want, where those qualities prevail. And therefore, they have founded the Kanyeihamba Foundation, which, even if God takes me, hopefully, even if people like you, Robert, and so forth will belong to it, because nobody in this country wants to belong to a party which is identified as corrupt, as devoid of truth. And my foundation, which I'm now associated with, is designed to create a Uganda we all desire, where the principles I have mentioned prevail. That brings me to your question. Does the Uganda Constitution
still make sense?
1995 still exist? And the answer is definitely yes, it does. When God made gold, it was buried under the ground. But that doesn't mean gold is not there. None of us are Christians. I believe in Christianity. I'm a Christian. Our Lord Jesus we regard as a God. He carefully selected his disciples, including Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him to the Pharisees. Does that reduce the importance of Jesus because he chose the wrong person?
Not at all.
Thank you very much. You have answered your question. Therefore, the 1995 Constitution still there. People may avoid it. People may try to twist it. People may amend it illegally. But that Constitution is there. And the President Museveni is the first one to support that idea. Because when we made it, 1995, he was not part of the making of it, but he became our guest of honor on its promulgation. And I have never forgotten his words. He stood up. One of our chief guests was the former executive prime minister of Ethiopia, the late, and Museveni said, I stand here in front of the whole world to be my witness. This is the best constitution Ugandans have ever made. And I will go in the bush once more if anybody tampers with it.
Those were his words.
Those were his words. I swear by God. There is one thing that God has helped me. I have respected Museveni and I still respect him. I recognize him as the president of the Republic of Uganda. But I have never feared him.
What do you mean by that?
I regard him as a leader, but a human being who needs advice. Any leader who rubbishes advice
is not a leader.
Is not a leader. Any leader who tells lies deliberately is no longer fit to continue being a leader. This is what the book is all about.
So, Professor, are you saying
the other day? Yeah, please ask a question.
Yes, I was saying I wanted to compliment on what you're saying. So, are you saying that if the Uganda we want should not have leaders who tell lies?
Yes.
Should not have leaders
who change their
minds at end,
or who disrespect the supreme law of the land. Any leader in the future, a Ugandan leader, must govern this country under the law, not by law.
That is the Uganda you want.
That's the Uganda I want. The leaders and all those subordinate to him must govern, rule Uganda under the law, not by law.
Differentiate that for us. Differentiate to us the difference between leading the country under the law and leading the country by the law.
Thank you. I will give you 2 examples from history. In Australia, at one time they had 2 chambers of parliament, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Remember, the House of Representatives is the more powerful. So the majority of those members want to change the constitution. And almost unanimously they said we should abolish the second chamber. And many members of the chamber wanted also to be abolished. So Harris, rather titled, one of the senators, went to court. So what they did was to summon all the members of the party. They sat together and overwhelmingly changed the constitution. They had the numbers. So one of those who was dissatisfied challenged that. And they said the constitution says for the law to be valid, one house must sit alone, pass the law, and then it must be debated by the second house and be made into law. Only that can it be valid. But what we have here, they bundle them together. Although they unanimously agreed the law should be changed, that was not legal. And do you know what happened? The Australian government, because it is governing under the law, it accepted the decision. And the Senate has stayed there. Compare that with the South African government led by the apartheid regime. There was a similar provision. And the nationalists who were racist won both houses of parliament. And they wanted to make a law that the black people should be deprived of their right to vote. So they all met together and they passed the law. Similar to that of Australia. Then Harris, one of those affected, challenged them on the president of South Africa. They said, you can't do it. Because our constitution, the South African Act, said they should sit separately. The House of Representatives should pass the law, and then they send it to the upper house until it passed. Unlike Australia, where at that time the government was under the law, but in South Africa it was by law. They obeyed the court order. First passed us in the first house, then put it in the second house, and passed it. So it became law anyway. So they were governing the country by the law. Whereas in South Africa, they were governing
under the law.
You follow the difference there. Where you use the constitution or the law to violate people's entrenched rights, and then you say, I have the power to do so because I have a majority, that is governing by law. But where you say, I cannot.
However much I can do it, but I cannot do it.
I can't do it because
the law
against the principles of our country, it is against the constitution, then you are governing under the law.
So that is the Uganda you want.
That's the Uganda I want. I wanted the Uganda where, when the Chief Justice has reached the retiring age of 70, he retires automatically, like Justice Wambuzi did. And the note of the Christian
no need to debate on that.
Yeah,
no need to debate on that.
Yeah. No need to do what?
To debate.
No need to debate that. Once you are 70, end of matter. The parent can come. Kanyeihamba'S still useful. He's a good cadre. I want to give him another.
But he's 70. He's 70. He should not come back.
End of story.
Okay.
He should go home. But where you are governing the country by law, that's what is happening today. The president will go to parliament and they say, I want you to amend the constitution so that a man who is over 70
can come back and serve.
Become Chief Justice. The law will pass. And when you ask Museveni, why did he said the law has allowed me to do so? So he's governing by law.
Not under the law.
Under
the law. Wow. Professor, apart from, making sure that we serve people under the law and looking at our constitution that, we live according to what our constitution says, what else do you want to see change in the Uganda you want?
They messed up the school timetable during this coronavirus, but nobody can challenge them. A man recently wrote, or a woman, that is not happy with the Ministry of Education publishing all the results of schools which did badly. Only one small percentage ever goes to higher school, even a smaller one to university. And yet the results of primary schools everywhere, we paid for them to be produced. Why? But that is governing by law rather than under the law. Millions of shillings, if not billions, were spent on publishing results of pupils who have finished their career in the primary school or secondary school as it may. Is that worse? Recording, putting their photographs expensively. No. I would be happy if the ministry changes their policy and they put their pictures of graduates, those who got first class at Makerere, Kampala International University, who got computer. That is more useful than publishing the photographs, names, and the background.
You're sending that message to the Minister of Education.
Absolutely. I hope she read that story from a correspondent who said, I don't like this procedure. It's wrong. Then you read in another article that our educational standards have fallen down. It may not be the fault of the minister, it may be the fault of many other things beyond her control. And yet you find shown in primary school these comparative studies. I came from the district of Rwanda, which shouldn't be a district, it's just a county. And the Rwanda is one of the poorest districts you have in this country. But the minister, Magezi, who was responsible for removing term limits, I believe, was rewarded with being a minister.
For local government.
Yes, and the other day, yesterday, or was it the day before, he published statistics showing that Rwanda is one of the best performing districts in the country. Rubbish. I come from Rwanda, I know what it is. I raised up the sum of 20 million to repair a hostel is called Kanyeihamba'S. And the then leaders of the district agreed they would also put there the same amount. But they disappeared in oblivion. The money is still here. And yet the minister lists that nationally as the best performing district. It's ridiculous.
So what needs to change? What needs to change in there?
First of all, when we were in the Constituent Assembly, several of us argued that those of us who made the Constitution should be disqualified from standing as a candidate for the next parliament. I was among those who moved that motion. We were defeated because many of the delegates wanted also to stand later for parliament. Nevertheless, for me, I kept my word. I did not stand for parliament after the promulgation of the 1995 Constitution. We were arguing that the Uganda is too small. And we had agreed that we should not have more than about 150 MPs. And then we said, no new district should be made unless the current district authority passes a resolution to that effect. And we are accepting it. Because you see, if I am a small sub-county and you make me big into a county, I agree. When you give people what will give them money, they accept everything.
Because they are getting money.
Absolutely. They are getting money. Then some of them promise pay, like LC chairman, this here and there. The money is wasted on that trip, because there is corruption on the way there. And I can tell you, I know many chairmen of LC who have never received their money. But when you go to Kampala,
they'll tell you we sent the money.
Yes. So it has encouraged corruption. It has corruption, nepotism, this expansion of government everywhere.
So that has to stop.
Is counterproductive.
So if we stop it, will we be able now to go back to what you had in mind in 1995 when you were coming up with this constitution? Are we able to go back to the smaller districts, the few?
If we put it to a referendum, we shall. Because most people don't want them. The LC chairman, the LDCs who are killing people somewhere are fewer than the ordinary people. So if we have votes, do we keep this or not? I can tell you most people will say no. This district in Kabale, or rather in Rubanda, in my hometown, it serves very, very few individuals. The overwhelming majority of the residents of Rubanda district don't benefit at all. Poverty is increasing everywhere. People are killing one another on land, for land.
Yeah, we are going to talk about that. But you mentioned the corruption. How can we fight corruption looking at the Uganda we want, which is a corrupt-free country?
Today, as I speak, corruption is rewarded. I have many instances in the police, especially in the police, where to be corrupt is to be rich.
If you want to get rich,
if you want to get rich, you have to deliver, become corrupt. And the people who are money makers of this country, many of them are my friends, and I'll be talking to them when I campaign for support of the Kanyeihamba'S Foundation. They will tell you they are victims of corruption. You have to pay. I think you saw the Uganda police no longer maintain me. They are no longer guarding me. I'm guarded privately. It's because they were very exorbitant in demanding this. The government is not paying it, please give us allowance, give us transport. In at least 2 occasions, I paid for the sickness, or shall we say the treatment of their relatives. And they were not doing a good job for me. So I had to weigh, do I keep the police as security here, or do I do it privately? So I do it privately.
And you're finding it more beneficial than...
More beneficial, yeah. I am at peace with myself. And I'm not harassed every day.
All that is because of corruption.
Corruption. Corruption.
How can we have a corrupt-free country, Professor? How can we have a corrupt-free country?
You see, President Museveni is very clever. He denounces corruption, but engages the corrupt as his cadres.
What
should... It sounds a contradiction in terms. Many things he does promise, they end in the air. I can give you one example. Kayihura was accused of many serious offenses, spying for Rwanda, where his ancestors originate from. And the president said, have him jailed. Then later, he was released, but went to his farm, somewhere in the Antonde. Then, a few months ago, the president said, I am going to release him. Has he been released? The answer is no. Why? You journalists, you should answer. We are living in a world of unpredictability, where corruption is not only fashionable, but acceptable. And so, you say, will corruption, shall we ever end it? Yes, but we must defeat the agents of corruption. When we came in, we are non-corruptible. Museveni was non-corruptible. He never tolerated corruption.
Let's go straight away. Which Uganda do you want to see, or what do you want to see change when it comes to land matters? It's now the hottest topic in the country. When you talk about land, everyone's attention is high. What needs to change?
Land is one of those subjects on which every Uganda citizen not only have a stake, but feels emotional about it. I have indicated that when my time comes and our time comes all the time. I want to rest here. I have become a man of this land. I am Sabasajja as Musajja.
Oli musajja wa Kabaka.
Ndi musajja wa Kabaka. And he helped me to be here comfortably. Despite Museveni's wishing to abolish my land.
Sabasajja Kabaka ye yakuyamba okubeera wano.
Iya nyamba. Nakasa cha nyamba. Waliwe bwe bayagala nga nteeka mukomera.
Nga baagala okusiba.
Nga baali baagala kunsiba. Nagenda ne simanyi bakiyita ki mu Luganda. I escaped.
N'otoloka.
And I went for the advice of the Kabaka. And what he said and said to the authorities keeps me safe here. That's why I am Musajja wa Kabaka.
Wow.
I love my neighbors here, the people here. I have interacted with the leader of the Muslims here, Sheikh Abdul Rubega. I am known and I have assisted Christians of both religions. And when they heard that this is my permanent home, they are all very happy about that. So the kind of Uganda I want is where every Ugandan can live peacefully without personal or political fear.
Can live peacefully without any political intervention.
Without any political or even personal fear. Many Ugandans, and I talk to many,
today,
fear the NRM party and its methods of work. Despite what says in the newspapers, many of the unexplained deaths are attributed rightly or wrongly to the cadres, LDCs, and the police controlled by the ruling party. That is a shocking revelation. And I don't want it to be in Uganda. Personally, I have only been very frightened, I think on 2 occasions, when I was being guarded by the Uganda police here. One time, one of them nearly strangled me. He had been recorded making a statement which was anti-government, and I confiscated that phone and I kept it in my bedroom. He charged in and went to get the phone from me. He said, "Give me my phone." He strangled me. And fortunately for me, he didn't realize there were 2 people visiting me. They restrained him. I reported the matter to the police. They did nothing.
After you reporting your case?
Yes.
To the right authorities?
To the right authorities. They did nothing. I even took a case against the police. In one incident, it ended there. I ended up being frightened, paying the police who were here my own personal money, because they were claiming the government is not paying them. But they were not thanking him, they were demanding more.
Instead of saying thank you,
yeah, they wanted more. I tell you, You will soon find out, and others will find out. But Museveni has said, I quote him, the police are the most corrupt institution in the country. The person he has put in charge, who is related to me somehow, paternally, Kahindo Tafire, Major General,
State Minister for Internal Affairs,
is not the right person. And I don't think he cares about whether the police are reformed or not. How do you, as the president of Uganda, tell Ugandans that the police are the most corrupt institution in the country, and then you put there a minister who will do nothing about that? Do you really want Ugandans to believe you or not? And I'm challenging him in this book. I have sent him a copy. I have sent President Museveni a copy of this book.
Okay.
To read it and they say, Mr. President, tell us, this is your last term, and the sooner you say it, the more we begin to look around for your successor.
Thank you so much, Professor Kanyeihamba George Wilson. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
We will continue to pray for you, and may God keep you in this country. We believe that one day you will as well stand up and say, yes, this is the Uganda I want. This is the Uganda I wanted.
Very much, I very much hope so. Yeah. Because none of us knows why God has kept me going, even at the age of this ripe age. I think He wants me to give my fellow Ugandans, my countrymen and women, a message which can help this country to recover again. Because we are now known as one of the very difficult, governable banana republics. And we grow bananas. It's such a shame that we should only be in reference to bananas. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I greet all our listeners. And as I say, I have written 33 books. And the three most leading ones, the current one is Evolution of Constitutional Law, Public Law and the Governance in Uganda. And then this one, I have given a small copy called Challenging Presidential Elections. This one, anybody can read. It is not a legal matter. Then the one which is like autobiography of mine is called The Blessings of Being Who You Are. And the blessings and the joy of being who you are. And in that book, it is reported that in 1918, I was nominated, among others, to receive the Nobel Peace Prize of the world. If you read The Blessings and the Joy of Who You Are, because of my stand on human rights, because of what people claim is my integrity, I have lost so many jobs, including being nominated twice to be the Vice Chancellor of Makerere University. I was going to be the President of the African Court on Human and People's Rights.
Till we meet again next time, the Uganda we want stops here today. Keep watching Dream TV and listen to us on Impact FM. The Uganda we want. So mu Uganda gye twagala mu lutalo luno olw'okulwanyisa obulabbayo obukenuzi nze kyempita obuvundu munna Uganda alina okuba nga yeenyigiramu.
Ffenna twenyigire mu lutalo.
Ate abalala tebasomye kuzimba wabula bayize okuzimba.
Uganda gye twagala okulaba ng'enguudo zonna nkole nungi, public transport nga weeri.
Kati eno gavumenti eriwo erina akabonero ka Lucifer. Buli kyotunulako mu Uganda kiriko oxygen. Either babika amawulire malungi oba mawulire mabi. Minisita teyeetagisa kabangali budde buno zaki.
At this time, why should somebody import furniture from outside Uganda? Let us leave NRM to be in charge for another 36 years or more.
I really want to see a Uganda that believes in the rule of law. If you have a constitution in place, follow it to the letter. Don't change laws just because you want them to favor you.
Kuba njagala omanye nti obugagga bwonna Uganda bwe yeeyagaliramu buyita waffe ku ttaka lyaffe. Naye Busoga mugidibaze.
How can a referral hospital refer you to a private clinic? The Uganda we want buli muntu ateekwa okumanya nti I am a stakeholder nkwatibwako si kwesuulira wannagamba.
Uganda oyinza okukakana nga mwe mulina bagraduates aba university nga bangi okusinga ebungereza. Mwe mufokasinga nnyo ku degree. Eri bo bafokasinga nnyo nti byensomye mbijeemu omulimu n'enkola.
We are dreaming of a Uganda where at a young age there is such a relationship between parent and son, parent and daughter, where the daughter can say this is what I want.
Uganda gye twagala empya tesobola kubeerawo nga tewali mateeka. Amateeka agakola.
The Uganda we want. Wano ku Dream TV